This photo here is a screenshot of a report online that I found of their AstraZeneca vaccination, the controlled experiment that has been carried out thus far. This is what we know about the AstraZeneca vaccine, by the fact that it was trialled in several countries, the trial from two different countries, UK and Brazil, we have the results of. This AstraZeneca vaccination was also trialled in South Africa, or is being trialled. We do not have the results for that yet. The results that we do have, it looks like the vaccination lowered hospital admissions. It basically looks like the vaccination lowered disease, and it is reported that the vaccination lowered illness, disease, and it also lowers COVID-19, which is a PCR test. They measure some things in your body and say, yeah, the test says you have COVID-19 or it doesn't. They don't measure how sick you are. That the criterion for COVID-19 is a PCR result at this stage. So this vaccination looks good because, like I said, it's trialled in two different countries, the UK and Brazil. And compared to the meningococcal vaccinated group, there were less hospital admissions. The COVID-19 recipients had less hospital admissions, and they had less PCR positive results for COVID-19. Search in this link on the internet. You'll find that if you start reading the article for a start, you will find that it appears as though there are 5 cohorts, that were designated originally to test how well this vaccine performs. Because we have groups number 1, 2, 3, and 5 that are mentioned. Number 5 is South Africa. The first 3, they're all either in the UK or Brazil. Like I said, we do not have results for the South Africa one. The government of Australia doesn't have that. They don't need it, apparently, in order to tell everyone to get this vaccine. If you haven't taken note by now, perhaps you should, that I am claiming that all of these things that I'm saying, all of these reports that I'm looking at on the internet, they're all true. I'm not disagreeing with anything the experiment designers or reporters have said. I'm simply sharing what has happened in the experiment. I'm not contending and saying, actually, I think they cheated, or actually the vaccine doesn't work. You know, what does work mean to you? How would I know? Why would I say that? I'm just saying what we do know from the controlled experiments that we have run. What we know is the groups we have results for this AstraZeneca vaccine, they're all compared to a control group that was vaccinated. So if we're saying that the COVID-19 vaccine lowers hospital admissions, we should actually tell everyone also on the news that this was compared to a group of people who had a hepatitis vaccination program. So yeah, an interesting caveat here is that of these 3 groups that we are shown the results of, one of the groups had some saline saltwater injection on the second dose of their mystery injection. So the first dose was a meningococcal vaccine, and the second dose was a saline. there's a chance the saline and the meningococcal are in a different order. It's one way or the other. But I will bet all my money, if you simply go and look at the article and read through it, it says that in one of the groups of the three that we've shown results of, it doesn't say it like this. Actually, when you read through the experiment, it's just like you get left at a cliff as to what happens in South Africa. They just don't mention anything except a vaccinated related illness or something. They don't mention anything about the results. Yeah, you'll see that these three groups we're showing the results of, one of the groups, their control, they received half of their treatment was meningococcal vaccine, the other half was salt water. We are showing the results in this trial, all of these three groups put together, as control versus vaccine, and the vaccine looks great. It appears as though, at least in this 6 months, or however long it was, that the COVID vaccine is not as dangerous as the meningococcal vaccine. We can say that with more certainty than anyone can say anything about any vaccine at this stage, because we have a controlled experiment here in front of us. The results thereof, unless you think they're lying, which I found out, if you think that they're lying, you can't make a video and put it on YouTube. I only found this out because I was mistakenly accused of purporting that something else is happening other than what the World Health Organization is saying. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like, this is the content of the experiments that you hear of that exist, but you don't hear the contents. The South Africa branch, I don't know why we don't see the results, but it is the only branch that has compared vaccinated, COVID-19 vaccinated humans to humans that weren't vaccinated on the merit of disease incidence and probably PCR results, of course, because that's, if you get caught with a PCR positive COVID-19 result at this stage, you're pretty much locked up. They make a big deal about it. So that's the AstraZeneca vaccine. That's what we know about it. And I'm bound to have people saying, nah, something else, because they never knew at all that this is the situation. This is the state of experimental evidence that governments are imploring you to get a vaccine. It's not like fishy or suspicious. It's simply one vaccine versus another in a controlled experiment, and they're saying that they've figured it all out. And that's fair enough. Yeah. And I took it upon myself to study the other most popular vaccine, which is the Pfizer, with a P. It appears as though, it is stated that the control group in this experiment was injected with salt water, saline solution. And it is reported that those in the vaccinated group had significantly less PCR results, and also over double the amount of disease incidence. Although it doesn't appear too dangerous, so this too is being held as a successful vaccine because they have lowered COVID PCR test results. But we cannot say, like we are saying with AstraZeneca, that it improved illness. Maybe that's why Australia has decided to tell everyone to get the AstraZeneca one, because the Pfizer one didn't improve illness compared to an unvaccinated control group. The AstraZeneca improved illness compared to a vaccinated control group. Why did they vaccinate the control group? Because they don't want anyone to know whether they got vaccinated or not, because that might mess with the placebo effect, the nocebo effect, if you will. That's why. And why does it appear as though the only time we can lower disease incidence in a controlled trial is when we compare one vaccine to another? Because that's all you hear about. And if you think I'm lying about something, if you're a marshal of YouTube and you've stumbled upon my video and you've taken it upon yourself to cancel it because what I said just doesn't sound right, given that the majority of people believe vaccines save lives, maybe it is time for you to take a step further and actually see if I am lying, see if I am actually saying something else, because I'm not. I am sharing with the world precisely what is being shared with the world about these vaccinations, what we know. Anyone talking about they think the vaccine does this or that, or they're going to wait, you, these are the best indications we can get is from these randomized controlled trials, and I'm sharing the results of them. And the fact that I'm not convinced I ought to go and get it seems to make people think that I'm lying when I'm sharing the details, because the World Health Organization shares the details and they say this is great. I'm not I'm not contending with any of the details. It just comes down to me saying, look, that I'm actually looking for a vaccine that will lower disease compared to a non-vaccinated group. And then I'll be happy to have that vaccine if the trial is long enough, because we probably should go longer than at least one season cycle. No, I haven't found a vaccine that has lowered mortality or disease in controlled experiment for any amount of time.